Welcome back, friends, for the subject Transportation Engineering 1. Myself, Assistant Professor Nitish Mohite, working in the Department of Civil Engineering, Bharati Vidyapeeth College of Engineering, Kolhapur, and I have completed my Masters in Engineering Civil Structures. Okay, so today we are going to move further with the new points in the unit number 1, that is Introduction to Highway Engineering. Okay, so we'll have a brief review that points which we have discussed in the previous lecture. So, what are the road patterns? What are the types of road patterns? What are the advantages and disadvantages of the various road patterns that are available? Okay, that point we have discussed, and correspondingly, where that correspondingly are supposed to be provided, that point also we have seen. Okay, so we'll move further to the today's session. Okay, so in the today's session, we are going to discuss these points, that is geometric design, terrain classification, design speed, vehicle characteristics, and cross-section elements of a road. Okay, so till now we have gone through the various points that were required for the study. Okay, so what done by highway, highway alignment. Okay, then correspondingly, what are the said considerations required or factors that control that are required for good highway alignment. Okay, what is the classification of the highway? Okay, and so on. But before construction of any or provision of any road, okay, you should know the basic geometric designs of the said our road where it is to be provided. So that is nothing but what should be the road width, correspondingly road length required or acquisition required, at what speed it should be uh, traveled, that correspondingly vehicle from that road, and so on. Okay, what should be the size of that corresponding vehicle, that we are going to study in the today's session. Okay, okay, so starting with the first point, geometric design. Okay, so as I told you that correspondingly, unless and until you are not knowing the geometric, that is what is the said dimensions or the place at which you are going to provide the road construction or construct the road. Okay, so if you are not knowing what is the nature of that ground, okay, for what purpose you are going to do the construction of the road, whether it is a expressway, national highway, state highway, village road, other district road, major district road. Okay, so if you are not knowing this, you cannot move further. Okay, so for that purpose, you should know what should be the correspondingly, if you have decided that what type of road you are going to construct it. So correspondingly, as per the IRC, that is Indian Road Congress, they have specified certain guidelines. So as per that only we are supposed to do the provision of the said norms. Okay, so starting with the first point, that is terrain classification. So terrain classification is nothing but correspondingly, the as per the IRC, the correspondingly the area which have certain slope, they are been classified according to the slope. Okay, So correspondingly, that whatever is the area present in our country, so whatever is the slope, so whether it is a plain, whether it is a rolling, okay, whether it is a steep one or whether it is a mountainous one. So likewise, what should be the slope that they have classified? Okay, so as per the IRC 73 1980, so correspondingly, so for plain area, so it is 0 to 10%. For rolling area or terrain, it is 10 to 25% cross slope of the country. For mountainous, it is 25 to 60, and for steep, it is more than 60. But later on, the IRC was being modified, okay, and special publication was been released in 2018. So according to that, nature of terrain, if it is plain and rolling, so cross slope of the ground, it should be up to 25%, okay, and if the nature of terrain is mountainous and steep, it should be more than 25%. So directly they have provided this value, okay. So correspondingly, according to the nature of the terrain, okay, the geometric design should be done for economy purpose, okay. So if you are not going to provide, so economy cannot be achieved for the said road construction. Next point is nothing but design speed. Okay, so now we have decided that what type of road it should be constructed, for what purpose it should be provided. Okay, so depending upon that, what type of road, we should decide that at what speed the vehicle should be driven. If you are not knowing it, okay, so correspondingly, whatever is the distance that you are going to cover it, it will not be achieved within the specific time, okay. So correspondingly, the maximum speed at which vehicle can continuously travel safely under favorable conditions is known as design speed, okay. So the choice of the design speed has to match the terrain condition, so that is nothing but either it is a plain, rolling, mountainous or steep. So it should match to the terrain condition and it should be acceptable to most of the road users. So the factors governing the speed design are correspondingly side distance, gradient, and curvature. Okay, so unless and until you are not deciding the factors, that is side distance, gradient, and curvature, you cannot go for the further at what speed the correspondingly car should be driven or corresponding whatever is the vehicle you are going to drive. Okay, so as per the IRC special publication, this is SP is nothing but special publication 73 2018. So they have provided a table design speed. So for plain and rolling, the design speed in terms of kilometer per hour, it should be 100 for rolling, and correspondingly for it should be minimum 80. And for mountainous and steep, it should be 60 kilometer per hour, and it should be 40. So they are given in general, okay. So they are not done corresponding classification, but for our understanding, as per IRC previous one, okay, we can have a look here. Okay, so they have classified like this: road classification, expressways, national highways, and state highways. Okay, so they have given certain points. So according to that, this table has been prepared. Okay, this is from IRC 73 only. Okay, so for plain area or terrain, for expressways or national highways and state highways, the speed should be 100. For rolling area or terrain, it should be 80. For mountainous, it should be 50. And for steep, it is 40. So that is, if you are going to provide this expressways, national highways and state highways, in these areas, the speeds are being given. So in case of major district roads, for plain area, it should be 80 kilometer per hour, at which the vehicle should be traveled. For rolling, it should be 65. For mountainous, it should be 40. For steep area, it should be 30. For other district roads, for plain area, it should be 65. Rolling 50, mountainous area 30, and steep area or terrain, it should be 25. And whereas in the case of village roads, okay, so design speed is 50 for plain area. For rolling area, it is 42. Mountainous area, it is 25, and steep area is also 25. Okay, so correspondingly, you are supposed to. So this is the recommendation which is given by the or guidelines given by the IRC, that is Indian Road Congress. So now after deciding what is the slope of the country, correspondingly the design speed at which you are going to travel. Okay, but correspondingly if you are not knowing what are the sizes of that vehicle, you cannot move according to that further. Okay, because we are knowing that when two vehicles are supposed to be driven at the same time, the clearance between the two vehicles should be perfect one, otherwise there are chances of getting accident. So side clearance or rear and front, whatever is the clearance is to be provided, that is to be seen. Okay, so this vehicular characteristic affect the geometric design, okay, and traffic performance considerably. Okay, so correspondingly the static characteristics affect the road design, that are nothing but dimensions, weight and maximum turning angle. So correspondingly, so static means they are fixed one. Okay, so that is nothing but according to the road designs are dimensions, weight and maximum turning angle. And next one is the dynamic characteristics, so which affect the road design are nothing but speed, acceleration and braking. Okay, so this correspondingly characteristics, that is static and dynamic, okay, affect the geometric design and correspondingly traffic performance considerably. Okay, so we'll see one by one, that is vehicle dimensions. Okay, so the dimensions mainly consider in this are nothing but overall width, then height and length of the largest vehicle. So whenever you are going to design a particular road, you should consider the largest dimensions. Okay, so that is width, height and length of the largest vehicle. So these are the main dimensions which should be considered. So the width of the vehicle, okay, affects the width of the traffic lanes, shoulders and parking facilities. Okay, then correspondingly the height of the vehicle. So as we know, correspondingly whether when the height of the vehicle is more one, so which affects correspondingly under bridges. Okay, or correspondingly it is affecting the clearance to be, which is to be required to be provided under the structures like over bridges, under bridges, electric lines, etc. Okay, so correspondingly the height of the driver seat also affects the visibility distance. Okay, and the height of the headlight affects the sight distance at the curve. So when you are traveling through your car or bike at the night time, you might have seen that whomsoever whichever is the largest vehicle which is going to come in front of you, so whatever is the height of the headlight, okay, so it affects the person who is traveling at a lower height as compared to that largest vehicle. So correspondingly, it should be according to the said norms and conditions. Okay, so that is nothing but the height of the vehicle. Next one is the length of the largest vehicle. Okay, so length correspondingly. So the length of the vehicle affects the width of the pavement. So if you are going to place a container in a small village road, okay, so if the length is not correspondingly possible to take the turn also, or correspondingly you cannot take the turn, okay, or there is no possibility of overtaking, so correspondingly it affects the said road design. Okay, that is nothing but it also affects the said traffic performance. So there might be chances of traffic congestion. So correspondingly indirectly the length of the vehicle affects the width of the pavement, widening of the pavements of at the curve, minimum turning radius, overtaking side distance, capacity of roads and parking facilities also. Okay, moving further, next vehicle characteristics is nothing but weight of the loaded vehicles. So the maximum weight of the loaded vehicle affects the design of pavement thickness and gradient, because correspondingly if you are knowing that correspondingly vehicle which is going to travel over it, okay, so it is heavily loaded, and the road which was being constructed, it was being constructed for just taking the load which is to a lower side as compared to the heavier vehicle. So correspondingly due to which there are chances of getting settlement of the said road. Okay, so it should be avoided. So correspondingly maximum weight of the vehicle which is supposed to be transferred over that road, it should be considered, and according to that only it should be designed. Next one is the power of vehicle. So the power of the heaviest vehicles, okay, and their loaded weight governs the permissible and limiting values of the gradient on the road. Next one, speed of the vehicle. So the vehicles which travel over the particular road affects the side distance. So side distance is nothing but correspondingly the distance or which we see whenever a particular object or the driver can see in front of him. Okay, that is the longest distance. Okay, so correspondingly we require a minimum side distance, so that correspondingly if it is required to apply the brake or if it is required to take a turn, so we can take it accordingly. Okay, so the whenever the point comes of this vehicle characteristics, that is nothing but relating to the speed of vehicle. So whenever your speed is more, okay, so while taking the turn you will have a chance of accident. So in order to avoid that, so this should be keep it in mind. So the vehicle speed affects side distance, then super elevation, length of the transition curve, radius of curve, width of pavement, design gradient, capacity of traffic lanes, and design of intersections. Okay. The next one is the braking characteristics. So as we were discussing about correspondingly the side distance, so in which it is required to get the longest distance between the two consecutive vehicles. So in order to have the safety of the vehicle operation, then stopping side distance and the spacing between the two consecutive vehicles in a traffic stream, we require a good braking characteristic system. Okay, so this was regarding the geometric design, which should be well known to us before doing the analysis of the said road work. Okay, moving further. Okay, so now we are going to see the next point, that is nothing but the cross section elements of a road. So what do you mean by cross section elements of a road? So correspondingly in the surveying subject, you might have done a road project in which correspondingly a longitudinal section was been drawn. Okay, correspondingly at a certain interval the cross sections of the roads were been drawn either in cutting, filling, then volume of cutting whatever is there, what volume of filling is there, then by making of certain formulas you have done the interpretation, and correspondingly you have calculated what is the volume of cutting and filling. Okay, so we know that the volume of cutting and filling should be equal. Okay, so there are no chances of increasing the construction cost of the said road. Okay, so that in that while drawing the cross sections you have drawn the details like what should be the roadway width, what should be the road margin, okay, what should be the carriageway, okay, what should be the slope for cutting, what should be the slope for filling. So that only we are going to see here. Okay, so here you can see a road cross section which is in filling. Okay, so here is nothing but the road land width. So this is the berm, this is the side slope which has been given. So this is the berm, then this is the side drain, roadway, road margin. Okay, the next one is nothing but in filling correspondingly. So this is in cutting, that was in filling. Okay, so then how here you can see certain slope is been given. Okay, so here is a spoil bank. Okay, so you can have a difference what is the side slope for cutting and correspondingly for filling here. Okay, so here it is 2:1 and here it is 1:1. Okay, so we'll discuss one by one all the said terms which are related to the cross section. So that are nothing but road land width, then roadway width, road margin, carriageway, so which is also known as pavement, then shoulders. So what do you mean by side slopes, berms, types of curbs, formation level, and camber. Okay, so starting with the first, road land width. Okay, so road land width is nothing but correspondingly the area of the land which is acquired for the road along its alignment. Okay, so here you can see, I'll show you. Okay, so here you can see, so this is nothing but the area which is acquired, okay, for the construction of the road. So entirely, okay, so which in which we will be constructing the said carriageway pavement correspondingly, then road margin which is required, then slopes which are required to be provided, and drain. Okay, so that is nothing but road land width. Okay, so as per the road classification, okay, so for plain and rolling, whenever you are going to go for the expressways and national highways and state highways construction, the road land width should be 45 meter, and whereas in the mountainous and steep area, it should be 24 meter. So in the case of the construction of the road of major district roads, so it should be 25 in plain and rolling area. Okay, and for mountainous and steep area, it should be 18. For other district roads in plain and rolling area, it should be 15 meters road land width, and 15 same for mountainous and steep area. Whereas in the village road, it should be 12-meter road land width in case of plain and rolling, and in the case of mountains and steep area, it should be 9. Okay, so this all the road land widths are as per the IRC only. Okay, so they are supposed to be followed. Next, roadway width. Okay, so the roadway width is nothing but correspondingly, which is the total width of carriageway. Okay, which includes the shoulders which are on the either sides of the said carriageway. Okay, so again I will show you the cross section here. You can get an idea. Okay, so here you can see. So this is nothing but the roadway width. Okay, so here which includes the carriageway and the shoulders which are being provided on the either side of the roadway. Okay, so as per the IRC, okay, so for different roads, that is expressways, national highways, state highways, then according to the said whether it is a single lane, two lane, and for different terrain, that is plain and rolling or mountainous and steep. Okay, so they have provided the different roadway width. So for expressways, national and state highways, if it is a single lane, okay, so it should be 12 for plain and rolling terrain, and for mountainous and steep, it should be 6.25. Whereas if it is a 12 two lane, then it will be remaining same for plain and rolling, but whereas in the case of mountains and steep, it will be 8.8. Okay, so in the case of major district road single lane, the roadway width should be 9 for plain and rolling terrain, and it should be 4.75 meter for mountains and steep terrain. So likewise, here you can see for two lane it is remaining 9. So other district road it is 7.5 for single lane, 4.75 same as that of the major district road, and two lane width remains same. Okay, so but in the case of village road, single lane is only provided. So which is having a roadway width in the case of plain and rolling terrain, it should be 7.5 and 4 meter for mountains and steep terrain. Okay. Next one is nothing but the road margin. Okay, so these are nothing but the portions of the land. Okay, so width, land width that are being provided on the either side of the roadway. Okay, so these margins are correspondingly used for parking lane, frontage. Okay, correspondingly load, then driveway, footpath, side drains, and side slopes. So from this images you can get an idea that correspondingly separate for parking or correspondingly for driving a separate path. Okay, so lay-by is here, cycle track has been provided, bus bay are been provided, or guardrails, whatever separate. Okay, correspondingly that is nothing but the margins which are used for parking, then corresponding driveway, footpath, side drains, and side slopes. So that are nothing but the road margins. Next is nothing but carriageway. So that is nothing but the pavement. So we have seen a cross section. Okay, so that is nothing but the portion of the roadway. So that has been constructed for the movement of the vehicular traffic. Okay, so over which the correspondingly the vehicles are going to travel. Okay, so as per the IRC, okay, so they are told that correspondingly if it is single lane, the width of carriageway it should be 3.75 meter. So when it is 3 point correspondingly when it is a two lanes without raised curbs, so it should be 7 meter. So when it is two lanes with raised curves, okay, without curves it is 7, with raised curves it is 7.5. So curves that we are going to see, you will get an idea. And width per lane for multi-lane pavement, so it is more than two lanes, so it is 4 lanes, 6 lanes, 8 lanes. So according to that, you are going to add correspondingly 3.5 meters in addition to the previous one. Okay, so the portion of the roadway on which the movement of the vehicles takes place, that is vehicular traffic takes place, it is nothing but a carriageway or pavement. Okay, so correspondingly, whenever it is dealing with the village road, correspondingly the carriageway or the pavement width can be limited to 3 meter, because the movement of the vehicles is restricted to certain extent. So in such case, we can go for 3 meter. Okay. Next is the shoulders. Okay. So shoulders are the strips, so that are nothing but which are being provided on the either side of the carriageway. Okay, so which are having enough strength to support a loaded truck. Okay, in wet weather. Okay, so correspondingly, so whenever there are chances of any settlement. Okay, so or correspondingly, as we are knowing that whenever a truck or correspondingly whichever is the heavy vehicle when it travels. Okay, so during the wet weather, whatever is the strata which is available below the said pavement, so there are chances of getting settlement. Okay, so of the carriageway. So when we are going to provide such kind of shoulders, okay, on the either side of the carriageway, so which will support us in enough strength to support the said loaded truck. Okay, so whenever it will travel over that part. Okay, so correspondingly the shoulders are also used for cycle tracks, pedestrian tracks. Okay, and they should be provided correspondingly for breakdown vehicles. Okay, and they are being given outward slopes to drain off the rainwater quickly. So as per the IRC, so whenever it is dealing with the type of section like plain and rolling terrain and in open country with isolated built up area, so it should be 2.5 meter for paved. Okay, with of shoulder it should be for earthen, it should be 1.5. So it should be total 4 meters. So it is as per IRCSP 84 2019. Okay, correspondingly built up area it should be correspondingly 2.5. So approaches to the grade separated structures again it should be 2.5. So it is total 2.5 only. So whereas in the case of mountainous and steep area, okay, open country with isolated built up area, hillside, valley side, they are classified. So total it is 2.5. So generally the shoulder width, okay, recommended in general by IRC is 2.5 meter. Okay, generally 2.5 meter is provided. That is the shoulders. Next one is the term nothing but side slopes. Okay, so the slopes which are given on the side of the earthwork of the road in embankment or in cutting. Okay, so that is nothing but correspondingly which is provided for the stability. Okay, that is nothing but the side slope. Okay, so generally here you can see for embankment the side slope is 2:1. Okay, and whereas the slope in cutting, okay, so this is nothing but the embankment. Okay, and the slope in cutting is been provided as to 1:1 that we have seen in the previous image. Next term is nothing but the bumps. Okay, so here you can get an idea that bumps are nothing but that have been provided in order to avoid the said lateral, so which are being provided in order to provide a certain correspondingly lateral thrust that are supposed to take place. So that is nothing but correspondingly spoil banks. So depot of earth or rocky materials likewise they are being provided. So these are been prevent bumps prevent side slopes. Okay, so this whatever the side slopes are there. Okay, so due to the provision of this said bumps, okay, so it prevents the side slopes of the road embankment from damage of the lateral thrust. Okay, so whatever is the spoil bank, that is nothing but depot of earth or rocky material is there. Okay, So due to which the extra lateral force takes place, and if you are not going to provide this such kind of berm, then there are chances of getting damage to the side drain, okay, or the side slopes. Okay, so here you can see the road pavement is there, okay, and here is the said corresponding berm, so which prevents or works as extra support for the side slope of the drainage system. Okay, next one term that we are going to see, that is relating to the curves. Okay, so this curves is nothing but correspondingly precast member. Right now you might have seen that are been just erected over the sides of the footpath, okay, so which acts as an barrier so that they cannot they will not go over the footpath. Okay, so there are generally four types of the curves. So first one is the low or mountable curves, next one is the low speed barrier or urban parking curves, then high speed barrier curves, and submerged curves. So we'll see one by one. So first one is the low or mountable curves. Okay, so here you can see the sketch, the dimension of these curves they are given. Okay, so here is the pavement. Okay, so the total length or the height of this it is 20 centimeter. Okay, so at the top it is 5 centimeter, 20 centimeter is the total width, and here it is 2.5 and 7.5 centimeter. Okay, so it is possible to ride over the curve or to enter the shoulder in case of emergency. Okay, so whenever there is an emergency, so whomsoever is the vehicle which is traveling over this corresponding pavement, it can enter over the curb. Okay, so in many of the movies you might have seen that the whomsoever is the driver driving the car, so he just enters over the footpath and starts driving over the footpath. Okay, next is the low speed barrier or urban parking curbs. Okay, so these are the curbs that are being provided or that work as a barrier to restrict entry or slow moving vehicles on footpaths. Okay, so crossing over these curves may result in severe damage to the vehicles as the face is nearly vertical. Okay, so here you can see as compared to the low or mountable curves. Okay, so this face, okay, so it is totally vertical. So whenever the vehicle is going to try to go over the footpath, so there will be chances of getting damage to the vehicle. If the ground clearance is good one, it can enter, but many of the cars are not having the good ground clearance. Okay, so there are chances of getting damage to the vehicle. Next type of the curve is nothing but high speed barrier curves. Okay, so correspondingly it is nothing but just like your low speed barrier curves. So here also you can see it's almost having also the same vertical. Okay, so this also can work as correspondingly avoid the entry of the vehicle over the footpath. And next type is nothing but the submerged curb. Okay, next term that we are going to see is nothing but the formation level. Okay, so the RL, that is reduced level of the finished surface of the earthwork for a road in an embankment. Okay, in which the cutting is there or filling is there, so that is nothing but the formation level over which the correspondingly the vehicle is going to travel. Okay, and correspondingly it should be kept above the high flood level, that is HFL, and it should be sufficiently above the groundwater table. So if you are not going to consider the formation level above these two terms, that is high flood level and groundwater table, so there are chances of getting damage of the said road or the said pavement. Next term is the nothing but the camber. Okay, so camber is nothing but a cross slope, okay, which is being provided to the road surface in the transverse direction to drain off the rainwater from the road surface. So it is vertical distance, okay, nothing but between the crown. So crown is nothing but the center part of the road, and this is the outer side of the road. Okay, so this is nothing but the slope, so which has been given in the transverse direction. So whenever there is a rainfall, okay, so whatever is the water going to get it entered over the top surface of the pavement, so it should directly get drain off and it should be entered in the drainage. Okay, so it is defined as the slope of the line which is joining the crown and the edge of the road surface. So that is nothing but the camber. Okay, so it is designated in terms of percentage or in terms of correspondingly 1 in n. So which nothing which means the transverse slope is at ratio 1 vertical to n horizontal. Okay, so it can be, as I told you, so this can be expressed in terms of percentage also. So it is n percentage, the cross slope is n in 100. Okay, or in some of the books it is x percentage, so x in 100 it is given. Okay, so generally we go n. Okay, so the amount of cambers depends upon the intensity of rainfall. So as we are going to provide in order to drain off the rainwater from the road surface. Okay, so it depends upon the intensity of the rainfall and permeability of the road surface of the in the material. Okay, so the water should drain off quickly. Why? So correspondingly, this camber provides uh, prevents the rainwater to pile up at the local shrinkages and form water pools around the road surface. Okay, so although it is not acceptable to the public and to the road structure, so many of the times you might have seen that this crown or the shade slope is not been maintained. Okay, so correspondingly, whenever the car is going to travel along such surface, okay, so there might be chances of getting tilted. So in order to avoid that, certain small amount of only slope is been maintained. Okay, so this camber quickly drains the rainwater. So it also saves the foundation course of these road structures from the percolation of rainwater to it through the road surface. So if this water remains intact at the top surface of the pavement, so we are knowing that so there are chances of forming the potholes. Okay, so if the potholes or the water saturates, so that water is going to enter it into in the subgrade, so which will affect the stability and the life of the subgrade, so which is going to affect adversely. Okay, also correspondingly, so whenever the water is going to enter the top surface, it should get dry after the rain. Okay, so otherwise if the water remains intact, okay, so there are chances of getting accident, that is due to the slippery. So as we are knowing that during the rainy season, so due to the saturation of water, so the vehicles get just slips off and it is unsafe for the vehicles. So IRC has recommended what should be the slope. Okay, so for different types of roads, so whenever we are going to construct a cement, concrete and thick bitumen surface road, so for low rainfall it should be 1 in 60 or 1.7%. For heavy rainfall it is 1 in 50, whereas for thin bituminous surface it is 1 in 50 or 2% in low rainfall, and in heavy rainfall it is 1 in 40 or 2.5%. In case of waterbound macadam, that is WBM, and gravel pavement, it is 1 in 40 or 2.5% in low rainfall, whereas in the heavy rainfall it is 1 in 33 or 3%. And for earth road type of road surface, in the low rainfall the range of camber it should be 1 in 33 or 3%, and in the heavy rainfall it should be 1 in 25 or 4%. Okay, so that was regarding the geometric considerations, okay, that we should know. And correspondingly, unless and until you are not knowing these points, that is dealing with the terrain classification, design speed, vehicle characteristics, okay, then what is the speed of vehicle, if you are not knowing the what are the various cross section elements of a road, what should be the camber, what should be the correspondingly roadway width, roadland width, carriageway pavement, okay, what type of how much is the side slope which are supposed to provide, so we cannot go further. Okay, so in the next lecture we are going to discuss the next point, that is dealing with the side distance. Okay, so we have discussed one point, that is nothing but the longest distance at which a driver can see in front of him. Okay, so while driving a car or bike, so he can see the longest distance in order to get awareness so that he can apply the brakes. So if there are chances of getting accident, or in order to have a proper distance between the two consecutive vehicles. Okay, and depending upon that, one theory is there, so which is the nothing but total reaction time, that is called as PIEV theory. That also we are going to see in the next lecture. Thank you.